command fear and respect. Without saying a word, Machiavelli's silent strategy for influence. We've all heard of the legendary Niccolò di Niccoli, better known as Machiavelli. His book, The Prince, is considered one of the greatest works on political philosophy ever written, and his name has become synonymous with cunning, manipulation, and ruthlessness in the pursuit of power. But what if I told you that there was a way to be like Machiavelli without even saying a word? That's right. In today's video, we're going to reveal how you can command fear and respect from others without saying a single word. So stay tuned, because this is one lesson you won't want to miss. Part 1. Know when to stay silent. The first step to mastering Machiavelli's silent strategy is knowing when to stay silent. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't the key to influence persuasion? Not exactly. You see, the art of persuasion is knowing when to speak and when to listen. And one of the most important things you can learn is to know when your words will have the desired effect. As Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, it is often safer to be silent and pass for a fool than to speak and risk exposing one's lack of intelligence. In other words, sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and let others talk, especially if they do not know something you do, or if they're making a decision that affects you. This way, you can assess the situation before revealing any information. It also gives you time to consider your options and plan your next move. Of course, this doesn't mean you should stay silent all the time. There are plenty of opportunities to speak up and make your voice heard. But by being selective about when to stay silent, you can avoid unnecessary conflict and make yourself appear more intelligent and mysterious. Part 2. Listen more than you speak. As we just discussed, staying silent is an important part of mastering Machiavelli's silent strategy. But it's only the first step. To really command respect and influence from others, you need to be a good listener. In fact, the ancient Greek philosophers believed that the ideal person was someone who could listen more than they spoke. This is because listening allows you to gather information, understand different perspectives, and build relationships. By listening more than you speak, you can avoid the common mistake of always trying to be right or convincing others of your own point of view. Instead, you'll be able to focus on understanding the other person's needs, desires, and concerns. This will not only help you to build stronger relationships, but it will also give you valuable insight into how to persuade them effectively. For example, if you're trying to convince someone to do something that they don't really want to do, it's unlikely that simply talking over them and trying to convince them of your point of view will work. But if you take the time to listen to their concerns and address their objections, you'll be much more successful. Of course, it's important to strike a balance between listening and speaking. You don't want to come across as passive or disengaged. But by making an effort to listen more than you speak, you'll be well on your way to mastering Machiavelli's silent strategy. Part 3. Use body language to your advantage. Now that you understand the importance of staying silent and listening more than you speak, it's time to learn how to use body language to your advantage. Body language is a powerful way to communicate without saying a word. It includes everything from your facial expressions to your gestures to your posture. By using body language effectively, you can convey confidence, power, and mystery. For example, maintaining eye contact is a great way to show confidence and control in a conversation. When you look someone in the eye, you're showing them that you're engaged in the conversation and that you're not afraid to assert yourself. Another important aspect of body language is your posture. Sit up straight with your shoulders back and your head held high. This will make you look more confident and powerful. Finally, be mindful of your gestures. Keep your hands and arms open and away from your body, which symbolizes confidence and comfort with your surroundings. By using these simple body language tips, you can make a lasting impression on those around you. Remember, your body language speaks volumes about you, even when you're silent. Part 4. Dress the part. In addition to using body language to your advantage, it's also important to dress the part. Your clothing can make a big difference in how people perceive you. When you dress well, you look more successful, more put together, and more trustworthy. On the other hand, if you're sloppy in your appearance, you'll come across as lazy, unmotivated, and unprofessional. Dressing the part doesn't mean you have to wear expensive clothes or follow the latest fashion trends. It simply means that you should dress in a way that is appropriate for the occasion, and that makes you feel confident. For example, if you're going to a job interview, you should dress professionally. Even if the company has a casual dress code, it's always best to err on the side of formality when first meeting someone important. By dressing the part, you'll show others that you respect them and that you take pride in your appearance. This will make a good first impression and set you apart from the competition. So take the time to put together a polished outfit that reflects your professionalism and style. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Part 5. Be unpredictable. One of the most important aspects of commanding fear and respect is being unpredictable. People are naturally afraid of what they don't understand, so if you can keep others guessing about your motives and actions, you'll be able to maintain an aura of mystery and power. For example, if everyone knows that you're going to respond in a predictable way to a certain situation, then they won't be afraid of you. But if your reactions are unpredictable and even a little bit irrational, then people will be more likely to respect and fear you. Let's say, for example, that one of your friends criticizes one of your decisions. If you always respond by getting angry and yelling at them, then they'll soon learn that criticizing you isn't worth the risk. However, if you sometimes respond calmly and rationally to criticism while at other times you become angry and lash out, then your friend will be less sure of how you'll react and therefore less likely to criticize you. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that unpredictability shouldn't be confused with being chaotic or unreliable. You still need to maintain a sense of control over your actions and be able to predict outcomes. But by adding a little bit of unpredictability into your interactions with others, you'll be able to keep them on their toes and make yourself more interesting and powerful in the process. Part 6. Cultivate an air of mystery. Another important aspect of commanding fear and respect is cultivating an air of mystery. People are naturally curious about what they don't understand. So if you can make yourself seem a little bit mysterious, you'll be able to intrigue others and make them want to know more about you. One way to do this is to avoid revealing everything about yourself to everyone. Share just enough information to make people curious, but not so much that they lose interest. For example, if someone asks you about your weekend plans, you could simply say that you have something interesting planned without actually saying what it is. By being a little bit mysterious, you'll make people more interested in you and more likely to respect your opinions and ideas. Of course, it's important to strike a balance between being mysterious and being secretive. If you're too secretive, people will start to distrust you. But if you're just mysterious enough, you'll be able to make yourself more interesting and increase the level of respect that others have for you. Conclusion. As we've seen, there are many ways to be like Machiavelli without saying a word. By staying silent when necessary, listening more than you speak, using body language to your advantage, dressing the part, being unpredictable and cultivating an air of mystery, you can command fear and respect from those around you. Remember, the art of persuasion is knowing when to speak and when to listen. So don't be afraid to stay silent when it will benefit you. And when you do speak, make sure your words are carefully chosen and well-timed. With practice, you'll be able to master the art of Machiavellian persuasion and achieve your goals without ever having to say a word. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below with your opinions and suggestions. See you next time.